So we are here. It is day 2 of 31 Days of Soapmas, and in this month we are going to be doing a whole bunch of fun things, but one of the things we are doing is talking about the trends both within the soap making community for those who are just doing it for the love of the game, so recipe changes, etc. and so forth, as well as the trends in, the business side of the soapy journey from 2023, and both realistically have everything to do with the current economy and inflation and all the jazz. And so today we are going to talk about a trend that kind of hits both the soap making world as well as the soapy business world. And I will tell you more about that in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 2 of 31 Days of Soapmas, as I said, and also as I said, we are talking about different trends that I have noticed that have become a thing in the soapy world in 2023, basically because of financial concerns. And what we are focusing on within that realm today is canola oil and how it's made an appearance in soap recipes across the board, everywhere. People are now embracing canola oil. What gives? I thought canola oil sucks. I thought it's awful and it causes DOS. Why are people using it? How long have I been using it? What are the benefits? What can you use canola oil in place of? And why have we decided that in 2023 it is no longer, public enemy number 1 in the soap making community? Let's get to the video wherein I am making a custom batch of soap that does contain canola oil and talk about all those things, there. Okay, day 2 of 31 Days of Soapmas, and we are going to make a lavender honey. It's a custom bar that was ordered from the website, which I always love making. It has a beautiful lavender honey blend. It's purples and golds and all of the things. Very gorgeous. And we are going to talk about canola oil and why that's trending right now in the soaping world while we make it. And this soap recipe actually does contain canola oil at 40% of the total batch, actually. So we are going to talk about why canola oil is so popular right now. Like, why are we loving this, And the biggest reason why we're loving this right now, and all of a sudden people are not just telling everybody how awful canola oil is, or how you should never use it because dreaded orange spots and your linoleic and your linolenic should only be at 10 total number for your soaps, and because dreaded orange spots, whatever, is because canola oil is cheap, and olive oil has increased by quite a lot recently. Have you been on the forums and seen the things? I get all of my olive oil in bulk, and so while I have experienced a slight increase, it hasn't been too bad across the board for me. But I've seen forum posts about people paying like over double the amount of what olive oil used to go for at, say, Costco or wherever they, get their olive oil locally. And so if you're doing local shopping, remember like the grocery store soap video I did a few months back, looking at, the differences in all the oils and everything that you can get. Canola oil is just sitting there all happy as a clam at $5.99 a gallon, so like 7 pounds, right? At the grocery store. So super cheap. So when you're looking at that compared to olive oil, which is like 3 times that amount right now at the grocery store or otherwise, it's like, well, yeah, so what's the deal? Why should we not use canola oil? Because this is breaking my bank and I don't want to actually increase my prices on my customers just to continue making olive oil soaps. So people are now turning to canola, which I think is a great idea. Yeah, that's actually something that we're getting quite a bit of right now too, is in response to the olive oil prices being bad. Suddenly the narrative is now changing that now olive oil sucks. It's not that good. It's such a basic oil, like whatever. There's so many other oils that can do such a better job. How about some rice bran? How about, well, some canola, whatever. And I also think that is very funny because olive oil is not a bad oil for soap. It really is not. It has high moisturizing properties. It has a nice, gentle, very creamy lather with it. Very, very high in oleic acids. Has a bit of, well, not a bit, but what is it for olive oil? For the linoleic. Let me double check. I'm going to make sure that I'm not giving you bad information. Let's look it up. Linoleic is sitting at 12, linolenic is sitting at 1, and comparing that to canola oil, oleic is very similar. They're both in their 60s. Linoleic is 21 and the linolenic is 9. So higher in the linoleic and the linolenic acids for sure. Now, what people say is that because of the increased numbers of your linoleic and linolenic, that can lead to dreaded orange spots. And so therefore you should, only use canola oil at like 10%. But let me tell you something. I've been using canola oil in recipes forever. And the only reason that I didn't talk about canola oil in recipes for the first couple years of the channel, and I only gave you like olive oil recipes, is because I didn't want to get shit on, Because people online on the YouTubes, they love doing that. They love telling the world or you that you are a bad soaper and a bad human and wrong with everything because you dared to put something that they disagree with in a recipe or show it in a video. And even after the canola oil video that I did a few weeks ago, months ago, question mark, I have no idea. I got sent a freaking forum or a thread that's on one of the soap making forums about me, which, by the way, guys, you don't have to do that, okay? I don't need or want to know any of that. I appreciate it, but I don't need to know that a former sudser is sneak dissing me in all of her videos these days, or I don't need to know that there's a post out there disagreeing with my content and what I put out. Unless something's actually dangerous and somebody for some crazy reason is threatening my life, which under what circumstances would that ever happen? I don't need to know it. It doesn't help my brain space, and I don't care about, what other people are doing and their opinions on my stuff because I'm just doing the thing, showing you the recipes, and, moving on. Point is, people are going to disagree with some of this stuff and then therefore assign weird values. And so that's why I didn't talk about it for the first couple of years. But in all actuality, I've been using canola oil in my recipes to keep my bottom line down so I can keep my, prices down. Because canola oil is so similar to olive oil in what it does in your soap recipes that it really is a good cost-effective oil to put in and include in all of your soap recipes. But people that I don't know. You continue to parrot things like DOS. I personally never had a problem with DOS in my soaps, but I think it's because we're not going to the extra steps, right? So I don't ever do just a regular stock standard soap. So it's just oils and your lye solution and maybe your colors and your scent, right? I put just tons of clay into every batch just as a standard. There's always a crap ton of kaolin clay because I make clay soaps. But then in addition to that, I'm using natural colorants, usually in the forms of clays or other powders, to create, different colors or whatnot as well. But then I'm also doing infusions, I'm putting salt in and whatever. And I think most soap makers are doing that these days. So, yes, there is an argument to be made that if you are making a soap that is 100% on the up and up again, right? So, it's just the most basic thing ever. All you are doing is oil and lye solution. Yeah, you can definitely run into problems with dreaded orange spots because of the higher content of linoleic or linolenic in your soaps, for sure. But so many of us love putting all of these extra additives in the forms of our clays, or a lot of people just stock standard put sodium lactate and citric acid and soap nuts as just part of their standard batch to combat like hard water, you know? And so I'm thinking when you have those chelators in there, then the dreaded orange spots are very, very unlikely to occur, which would explain reasonably why I've never had problems with DOS because all of my soaps are so infused. I don't think I've ever made just like a basic B batch, you know? But so if you are thinking about actually using canola oil in place of olive oil right now, I think it's a great idea. I definitely think you should do it because these prices with olive oil are very, very crazy. But do keep that in mind that it's probably an even better idea to go ahead and throw a chelator in there just to make sure that you don't end up with any DOS. But it really is as simple as that. You don't have to go with the high oleic canola oil versus the regular. You can just do your regular store-bought, you know, canola oil that you get in the gallon jugs and throw a chelator in there and you should be good to go. And clays, obviously, because I love clays just across the board. So I'm always going to recommend that. But this guy is getting C-popped and gelled, and let's check out this cut, now. Now, another thing that people say with the canola oil is that for the batch, it can actually make the batch get to trace too quickly, and it can thicken it too fast, all of the jazz. And I mean, I don't ever have that problem, but that said, I have made so many soaps over the years that I soap kind of different than a new soap maker might. You know what I mean? Oh, those soaps are gorgeous. I didn't mean to cut it that way, by the way. I was planning on cutting it from the top down, but once I had done the pretty top, I decided that I was just going to cut it standard. And that's cute. It looks like a purple and yellow leopard or something, super cute. But yeah, I soap different than I think a new soap maker would, where they're very concerned and very interested in getting to trace. I don't do that. I soap to an emulsion and sometimes almost a near emulsion, and then let the working of the whisk for the colors and the scents and everything finish that, get it to an emulsion for me. So I have not experienced any overly thick batter that I wouldn't already experience from all of the clays and everything that I put in. So I don't see that as a problem. I've never personally experienced that. That's not to say that people haven't experienced that. That's also not to say that people haven't experienced DOS to that. Like, I'm not suggesting that everybody online is lying. I'm just suggesting that there is probably a reason why DOS is occurring for you and it's not occurring for me. And the only thing that makes sense logically in my brain is the types of additives that I put into my soaps for infusions. And also, I assume you all understand that I'm saying additives, meaning like all of the good stuff that I've explained, that go in, not additives like cheap filler crap. People do look at canola oil as cheap filler crap though, and I really don't understand why, because as far as like a label appeal, going back to people talking trash about olive oil, I do think that canola oil these days has a cooler label appeal than olive from a consumer perspective, because everybody is just so used to seeing olive oil in everything, right? And so I think it has an appeal in that it's, different, because we see olive oil in all of our recipes. Whenever we look up a recipe online, it's, put some olive oil in a pan before you start sauteing your vegetable, whatever, And so when they turn the thing over and they see olive oil, it's like, well, olive oil's everywhere. It's olive and coconut, And so if you have canola oil in there, I don't know. I think the consumer brain might go, oh, cool. So I think that would be the only reason that you would ever talk trash about olive oil, because it would just be that it's everywhere. And if you're going to say that canola oil is a filler, I think you would also have to logically say that olive oil is a filler, because are there much better oils that can be used in place of olive oil to create a quote unquote superior soap? You bet. You want to do an Aleppo soap? Sure. You should do that. You know, it's so expensive. How about avocado oil? I mean, that's a bad example because that's actually kind of different with the fatty acids by a lot. But you get it. Like, any oil could theoretically be called a filler, but I don't believe that's the case. I don't think that you have to spend more, not when it comes to soap, because what you're looking at is the fatty acid profiles that's going to turn the soap into, or the oils into a soap that bubbles in some kind of way. As you know, which is different from, say, a leave-on product, so a face oil or a lotion or something. Yeah, I wouldn't put olive oil in any of those. I do like my fancy expensive oils for my lotion bars and my, face oils and whatnot. But olive oil is not a lesser product. Canola oil is not a cheap filler product. They both do functionally basically the same thing within soap. So, yeah, I understand why people are turning to them right now, but I do find it interesting that suddenly canola is good, actually, when for years and years it was just, oh, public enemy number one. But anyway, those are some really cute soaps. Back to my face. And there it is, a gorgeous custom soap, the Lavender Honey. I love messing with the patterns at all times. You will be able to see that again throughout the 31 Days of Soapmas because I had to make it a lot with all the holiday sales and everything. And for a few of them, I filmed it. Yes, but canola oil. Basically, the TLDR is the reason why canola oil is being considered as an acceptable oil to use in your soaps now, where it was not before, and you would just get put on blast on all these forums if you mentioned canola oil in a recipe, is because olive oil is expensive now. And canola oil is a great substitute. And suddenly we're not having any chit chat about how bad canola oil is and how much DOS it causes and anything. And isn't that weird? It's not weird. I think it's more of an indication, just another example of people say really strange things on soap making forums. And I think you should not believe most of it, you know? Because for my part, I've been using canola oil for a very long time. It is in lots and lots of my recipes, and it does beautifully within it. I've never had a problem with DOS. I don't have a problem with acceleration, with ricing, with overly thick soap batter, etc. and so forth. And for an ROI, for a business, it's wildly better for your bottom line than olive oil is right now, for sure. So if you've been thinking about making the plunge and trying canola oil, let this be an example. You should do that. It's a great oil to incorporate for sure. And if you are interested in seeing other products that may or may not contain canola oil, if you're interested in seeing this pour and how I do it wildly different, subscribe, like, comment, do the things, become part of the Sudser community. For those of you who are part of the Sudser community, hello, Sudsers. I love you. You guys are everything to me. I know that we have a couple people in the Sudser community that are kind of going through a lot at this exact time. So all of the thoughts and happy feelings and everything to them, definitely put all the positive energy to them. And yeah, I'm with you. If you need me, I'm always here. You know where to find me. All the jazz. Thank you for being Sudsers. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being my people. I'm out of here, but I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of 31 Days of Soapmas. Soapy fun. Bye. I left crap out? My gosh. Come on. Clean up your mess.